Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. This is the Unfiltered News report from the Reality Zone, compiled by G. Edward Griffin for the week of June 4th through June 10th, 2011. Here's the comic strip for this week. Another wiener tweet. No, she just saw how much money Social Security and Medicare will cost us. Ooh, bad news. Russia. New ATM machines use biometric 3D face and voice recognition. They also detect lies and emotional distress to prevent credit fraud, of course. Daily Mail, June 10th. This is coming to America soon. They want to put these things up at sports stadiums where you walk in and they question you and biometrically scan you and see if you're going to bring in a camera. Ooh, a dangerous weapon that could kill everyone in the stadium. See, it's all copyright stuff. You're just not allowed to have any personal memory of the game or anything. It's bad. It's very bad what this country's come to. U.S. Defense Secretary Robert Gates warns that NATO may fail due to lack of member support from the war in Libya. The U.S. is staggering under the load of funding wars and is trying to motivate other countries to bankrupt themselves also. The game may be coming to an end, though. The Oval, June 10. The U.S. war in Libya has gone over budget, $60 million a month, and may be reaching a stalemate as Pentagon's request for more money is being resisted. U.S. NATO partners still insist that Gaddafi's days are numbered. Daily Mail, June 10th. NSA whistleblower charged with espionage and facing 35 years in jail for exposing government waste and spending. So you're not allowed to show that the government's doing wrong anymore. That's against the law. Was given an option to accept a misdemeanor charge. Yes, they're doing that. It is believed that the feds plea bargained because they did not want to reveal information about their surveillance of citizens that likely would have been required otherwise. Yes, they don't want to know how. They don't want you to know how you're being spied on with every electronic device you own. Wired News, June 9th. The Patriot Act. It's for the terrorists, Americans that is. Japan. Worse than meltdown. Government report says melt-through has occurred at Fukushima. Higher officials suggest Japan could become inhabitable. That's right. People may never be able to live in Japan again after this disaster. Natural News, June 9th. Because they're having a China syndrome right now on at least one of the reactors, and maybe another one because they have a few of them that's meltdown. Coca-Cola still imports coca leaves into the U.S. supposedly to obtain flavoring for its beverage, but one of the byproducts is cocaine. Lots of it. Read this fascinating report for details, including names of companies that do the processing. It's just amazing. Natural News, June 9th. Yes, it's a possibility that they're using the cocaine that they're getting as byproduct to pay off the DEA to continue to allow Coca-Cola Company to bring in the coca leaves and to pay off politicians. Nose candy for the weekend parties. Anywho. China Central Bank warns the U.S. is playing with fire by considering defaulting on its debt as a means of pressuring Obama to cut spending. China holds more than $1 trillion, I believe $1 trillion plus, in U.S. Treasury debt, and there is little doubt that it would retaliate for non-payment of interest. That retaliation would accelerate the fall of the dollar. Reuters, June 8th. Yes, I heard today that China's claiming that we're not paying the interest on it, so we have already defaulted. Oh well, let's see what happens. Maybe we'll go back to the gold and silver standard, or at least a gold dollar or a silver dollar, like Kennedy wanted to do. Kennedy wanted to make a silver certificate dollars. For silver, you could go in the bank and get silver for it. That's what we need to do. We need something that's more controllable. So not the Federal Reserve that can print up money out of nothing anytime it wants to, which it has been for the last 10 years. Anywho, that was California man has his door kicked in by SWAT team on behalf of the Department of Education. The man says they were looking for his estranged wife to collect overdue student loans, but the DOE denies it. Raw story, June 8th. Yes, I saw the video on YouTube of the news report. The local news covered it. It showed him, he showed his wrist. He had red marks around his wrist from the handcuffs. He has a hole in his door as big as a basketball from the battering ram, which they fixed up by putting a board over it and put a couple of screws in it and said, there you go, it's fixed. He just says he wants his door replaced. That's all he wants for forgiveness. He could sue them for lots of money. But this is strange. The Department of Education got SWAT to kick in someone's door to collect a loan. Is this the beginning of debtors' prisons in America again? Something that's been outlawed since the 1800s? All right, India. A famous yoga instructor who has a TV show with 30 million viewers began a hunger strike to oppose government corruption and was joined by tens of thousands. When he refused to back down, 600 policemen in tear gas and batons attacked his supporters. He has even more of them now. Yes, he became a living martyr. Radio Australia, June 8th. Seattle residents are exposed to 10 radioactive hot particles per day from Japan's nuclear reactors fallout. Washington blog, June 8th. That's right. They're telling people to get the fleas off. They're called the uranium fleas. They're radioactive fleas. It's on the food. They're about the smaller than the size of width of hair, and they're real particles falling on lettuce and stuff. And they're saying to wash your lettuce before you eat it so you don't consume this radioactive particles. Or radio particles, yes. U.S. debt now at $61.6 trillion and unfunded liabilities to seniors, veterans, and retirees. That is over $500,000 per household. Obviously, that can never be repaid except by making dollars worth pennies through inflation. USA Today, June 7th. Kansas producer of elderberry juice is raided by the U.S. Marshals on behalf of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, for claiming that the juice has health benefits and should be considered a nutritional supplement. As a nutritional supplement. The news, I read that. They were saying they complied with everything the FDA told them to do, and 6 years later they come and bust in his door and tell him that they didn't comply. And though they hired somebody, a lawyer that knows all the FDA laws, went over it. Read the article. It's a good one. June 7th, Natural News. U.S. 1 in 4 computer hackers is an FBI informant. Imagine that. The FBI and Secret Service have used the threat of prison to create an army of informers and agents. Guardian, June 6th. That's right. If you're a hacker, you can now be hired under a threat of prison by the FBI if you want to or not. Or you don't have to. You can go to prison. What a beautiful free country we live in, huh? U.S. law allows testing of chemicals and biological agents on civilians. Population. It doesn't come right out and say that. Here's how it works. Number 1. Testing on civilians is prohibited, but of course there are exceptions. Number 2, the exceptions are anything the government says is needed to protect the nation from disease, crime, or enemy attack. There is nothing that can't be justified for one of those purposes. Chemtruth, June 6th. Amazing. And we call this a free and just country. U.S. shareholders of oil and gas companies have voted in surprising numbers to modify fracking techniques that pollute the environment. Some companies refuse to allow shareholders to present their resolutions. Triple Pundit, June 6th. Amazingly, if you got money invested in these companies, I would pull it out if they're not letting you give your 2 cents in it or how to fix this problem of polluting people's lands from fracking. I'd put them out of business and let somebody else step up to the plate that will listen. Okay, video. In 1959, an experimental nuclear reactor in Semi Valley, California, operated by Rocketdyne Corporation, suffered the worst nuclear accident in U.S. history. The Atomic Energy Commission lied to the public about the event. Radiation and pollution remains to this day. So if you live in Semi Valley, you may be being exposed to the leftover radiation from that nuclear accident. YouTube posted June 6. A Florida homeowner forecloses on a branch of Bank of America after it refused to pay legal fees for wrongfully foreclosing upon the homeowner. Digirad.com, June 5th. What happened is they paid cash for their home, and the bank said that they owed them money on a loan that they didn't have. So they took them to court, and then when they won, they refused to pay the legal fee. So what did? They got their lawyer, and their lawyer foreclosed on the bank and had trucks lined up ready to carry everything out of there, cash out of drawers and everything. This is a good one. You should read this article. Ireland. Leaked records reveal that children put into state care have ended up as household slaves or sex slaves in brothels. Irish Central, June 4th. Video. Former CEO of Lehman Brothers says that any investigating of Goldman Sachs is unlikely to result in criminal convictions because the company is too big to fail. That's right, they're above the law, too big and above the law because of it. Why? Because that would upset the market too much. Screw the market, let them fail. Somebody will step up behind them and take over. Bloomberg posted June 4th. The U.S. EPA tries to grab control over all water in the U.S. Is Your Government for Sale is an excellent overview of the problem and focuses on the solution. States have the authority to reject these regulations under the 10th Amendment, and governors have the final authority. Morph City, June 8th. Another video. Jim Turk explains that gold is money, not an investment. Investments are used to create wealth by producing products or services. Money doesn't create anything. Its roles merely to maintain purchasing power while waiting to be spent or to spend it. When people hold national currencies as money and those currencies lose their purchasing power, they lose their wealth. When they hold gold as money, they maintain their wealth. Gold money. Tom Woods presents a powerful case for the right of states to nullify federal laws that they consider to be unconstitutional. This may be the only solution to America's present crisis, so it is essential to be informed on this topic. YouTube, June 9th. Why is silver so volatile? This is concise analysis will answer all your questions about the price of gold. Silver are not in perfect lockstep and what to expect silver prices in the future. Gold money. Analysis say Greece should do the right thing and default now. He says banks lured the government into loans it could not afford by means of deceptive promises and other predator loan policies. Therefore, the banks committed a crime and should forfeit repayment. We don't think the government was all that naive and innocent, but the criminality of the loans is well worth considering. Of Two Minds, June 1st. And we should do the same here. In the Grip of Mad Scientists is a review of Monsanto's history of alliance with the military to carry out secret experiments on U.S. citizens. Monsanto's is still working with the military and USDA through an agricultural business. It recently teamed up with Atlas Adventures Company, which specializes in what it calls disruptive innovation, a technique for completely and quickly changing the way things normally are done. Farm Wars, June 1st. Well, that's the headlines for this week. And I hope you enjoyed it. These are very interesting articles. I suggest you go here today and check it out. You will love what you read. I'll have the link at the bottom of the video. And, or if you keep this link, it's every week it changes and you'll get a different page every week of the unfiltered news from the reality zone. Until next time, this is Spellbinder reporting on the unfiltered news. from the Reality Zone by G. Edward Griffin. Be good at it, and have a very good day.